everyone. This is Travis Clifford, and this is my literature review on free choice reading in schools. The abstract. This literature review looks at studies that address the biggest problem for students' achievement in the classroom, reading comprehension. The review will look at studies that provide evidence that free choice in reading will create students that find pleasure in reading, test better on exams, and can even become lifelong readers. This review will also look at the limitations of studies on free choice reading and what future studies need to be performed to get more information and how to create educational reform in schools to increase reading comprehension and overall student achievement. The purpose of this review is to examine how students' choice in reading can create a student that finds pleasure from reading, shows a significant improvement in reading test scores, and can even become a lifelong reader. Databases used: ERIC, JSTOR journals, and Academic OneFile. Some of the academic journals used were Texas Journal of Literacy, Australian Journal of Language and Literacy, International Journal of Language, and Reading and the Reading Teacher. I did find that a lot of the studies were international, and there were not a lot of studies in the United States for reading comprehension in schools. The criteria I used was the study had to be a research study, and the students had to be K through 12. They could not be in college, which there were a lot of studies for students in college on free choice. Keywords used: I really want to focus on student-centered, student choice, reading comprehension, putting those two together. Some of the results: Kimberly Walsh study showed that targeted professional development can lead to teachers having an increased knowledge of reading teaching strategies. Um, Professional development leads to a more authentic classroom environment, and professional development can lead to a shift toward a student-centered literacy instruction. That study was basically proving that targeted professional development can help teachers learn how to teach reading in the classroom to give their students ability to increase their reading comprehension. Catherine Edmonds' study: students in reading did not react well to extrinsic rewards, and she found that there were five motivations that students had to help them read, or to five motivations that were found in students when they read: self selection, attention to characteristics, personal interest, access to books, and active involvement. And a lot of those motivations are applied to free choice reading: self selection, personal interest, access to books. Those are all involved in free choice. Dimit Saban: students respond better through open ended questions. Students will begin to take ownership and show a sense of power in reading when they are able to test and result on books through open ended questions. Julie Framini McBride: there is an increased reading comprehension when students have a choice of what they read. There is an increased reading comprehension when students can read silently. Basically, overview: when you give a student a choice of what they want to read and how they want to read, it can result in a greater reading comprehension. Jeffrey Wilhelm: allows students to read marginalized genres to become interested in reading. So that's genres outside of the classics that are mostly what schools allow students to read or give them a choice to read. It can be sci-fi, stuff like that, that you can get students to start reading first so they become interested in reading. Parents worry too much about what the child reads. They want them to read what the schools want them to read so they can test better on the state exams. This article or this study was showing that parents put too much emphasis on what the student reads, and the primary goal should be students reading what they want to become interested in reading. The discussion. Conclusions: how reading is taught in schools needs to be adjusted to help with the students' reading comprehension, and providing choice in reading is a step in the right direction to increase reading comprehension in schools. A lot of the studies started off by saying that coming into elementary school, students are already far behind, and there are really poor levels of reading comprehension in schools across the United States. Implications for practice. There's more and more evidence that providing choice for our children as they go through the educational system can lead to a more successful educational experience. Not just reading, but if you give students choice in everything they do through schools, then they will more than likely have a more successful educational experience. Limitations. The limitations to this review were the lack of studies found that had data from schools on reading comprehension levels before and after introducing free choice. A lot of the studies were short-term studies. There was no studies that I found where it was long-term evidence that providing free choice for reading shows higher test scores and actually produces more students that want to read and have better reading comprehension. Suggestions for future research. We need to find out how this research can help all students. So even students that their first language is not English, low SES students, students with disabilities. It just can't just be for one specific set of students. We have to find a way that we can help all students with reading comprehension, because reading comprehension, if that is low, then that affects every other subject in school. So if a student is struggling with reading, chances are they're struggling in school in general. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and have a good day.